this question is to all of you, and I will go one by one. So the first question that I have for the panel is, what does future of work and being a fit for future organization mean to you? Your thoughts on the same. What is future of work to you? And what would be a fit for future organization being able to do that future of work? So if we could start with Amit, your thoughts, Amit.
Sure. Thank you, Samida, for the nice introduction and the context setting. So, while all of us know that the VUCA has become the new normal for the business world for quite some time now, we have been talking about it, but a disruption like the current one that we are going through, this COVID pandemic, actually it has been an acid test for leadership across global organizations. So we have already witnessed the emergence of new business models, influx of new age workforce like the millennials and the Gen Zs who are knocking the door, and also the sweeping digital disruption in a knowledge-driven networked organizational ecosystem. So when we try to imagine the future world of work, I think we need to have an incredible amount of foresight as well as planning for the business and the way we manage the workplace, when the world of work is recalibrating itself into a new normal. So I think instead of trying to predict the future of work only, I foresee a simultaneous transformation, what I said 3 Ws, which is work, workforce, and workplace in the near future. So the starting assumption for making organizations more resilient and making them fit for future is to first understand ourselves that we have to assume that none of the crises that we have experienced in the past will reappear in a similar manner in the future as well. So there's no point in practicing and preparing for the responses to those specific catastrophes. That's one. Now, people try to predict the future normally as a psychological tool to deal with the present crisis. That's a normal human behavior. However, I think the scenario planning is a better way of looking at the future. When I say scenarios are not predictions, but they are plausible stories about the future. They are designed to help us break the habit that future will also not look like the present. Yeah. So I think the linear prediction of future is too simplistic at the same time. We need to proactively engage the organization leadership into multiple scenario building approach. We need to understand the challenges and implications for each of these scenarios, and we have to help co-create the workflows, re-engineer the roles, the new productivity metrics, and of course with the infusion of the right technology in a very collaborative manner. Now the future of workforce obviously will, in my mind, look for instant gratification. We are already seeing that happening with our millennial workforce and the Gen Zs who are coming in as more as trainees and interns. They will look for opportunities to fulfill their purpose. They will expect more life in the job than the job for life. Their aspirations will be around portfolio career, where they can dabble around with multiple roles in a much more flatter, project-based, collaborative organization structure. They will seek more empowerment and freedom to do more experimentation at the workplace. And also, we need to have entrepreneurial opportunities given to them within the stability of a very progressive and ethical organization. So the new world of business, I would say, the organizations need to recreate the employee experiences across all the employee lifecycle touchpoints, which are relevant and provide those high moments of truth in a very hyper-customized manner, which caters to the specific, unique needs of those individuals. So while we would see a massive shift in the ways of working going forward, I believe the biggest shift post-COVID going forward is a mindset shift. And I think the differentiating factor will be how we demonstrate agility, adaptability, the critical thinking and growth mindset to create that anti-fragility, which is not only for our own organizations, but to also for the overall business ecosystem at large.
That's wonderful points, and thank you so much. Readiness. What do organizations need to do today for a great, future state?
So thanks. So So when we say that the economy is recovering from the current crisis in whatever form, one thing is very certain, which I mentioned earlier as well in this discussion, that things won't return to the normal. So whether we call it the new normal or the new abnormal, a different mode of leadership has to, emerge, and they have to manage an environment of urgency, high stakes, and uncertainty more than that of the current. Okay, so we need to foster adaptation helping people to develop the next practices for the new world of business, while we should continue with the best fit practices which are necessary for the current success, which we have seen the current success with. So we need to embrace a kind of a disequilibrium, which will keep people in a state of kind of constant discomfort to induce that change, but not so much of discomfort that they give up. So we need to encourage a kind of a creative disruption by allowing employees at all levels to experiment and develop the culture to even celebrate failures, if that provides learning and insights. So future leaders, in my mind, will be acknowledged for demonstrating something like tenacity during volatility, virtual empowerment, decisional agility, as well as emotional resilience. So the main reason, in my mind, the organizations floundered every time some crisis or the other hit the business world was because they became progressively more fragile. So being encouraged by Brad, when I spoke about this anti-fragile, it reminds me of the Taleb's book on anti-fragile, Things That Gain from Disorder, right? Where he has provided very valuable insights which are relevant for us. He said that some things benefit from shocks. They thrive and grow when exposed to volatility, uncertainty, and disorder. And this he called as anti-fragility, which is beyond resilience or robustness. He said that resilient resist shocks and stay the same, but the anti-fragile gets better.
They thrive. They thrive in that kind of change.
They change for the better. That's the key for anti-fragility. So hence the overarching learning and development objective of today's business organization, in my mind, is to make it future-ready and anti-fragile, which can make it more resilient and demonstrate proactive responsiveness to withstand that shock and change for the better. So investing in the learning agility is no longer an option for us. It's a necessity in today's world of business. So we need to constantly invest in our future competencies like learning agility, critical thinking, empathy, cognitive diversity, creativity and innovation, design thinking, and at the same time, we need to push the digital savviness in the organization so that we can embrace the right technology, which I think Raj sort of mentioned about the SPAC model, to scale up our cognitive intelligence and at the same time, drive employee productivity and experience in the first place. So HR need to connect with the heart and minds of our employees, which we always do, connect the purpose and bring a sense of urgency and responsiveness. And at the same time, we need to create a shared vision and communicate that very powerfully to the organization. So in my mind, in a nutshell, the sure short way to increase that anti-fragility quotient for future fit organization is to vaccinate the organization with the right learning agility doses and de-risk it against any kind of potential black swan event in the future.
Sure. Thanks, Amit. Amit, do you want to take this since you spoke about the org resilience and anti-fragility?
This is that if you have to be very candid and put my hand on my heart, I don't think there is any blueprint available for us to create that resilience and anti-fragility that we're talking about to make us ready for the future. Because see, the impact and implication of this crisis that's getting unfolded still, actually we have, as an HR community, we have an immediate responsibility and opportunity as well to continuously gain much deeper understanding of our most critical asset, which is our people. So you have to adopt more and more outside-in approach. We need to have the right mindset, skill set, and tool set to capture the changes in the marketplace, the changing customer preferences, and continuously deploy a design thinking framework. What I mean by design thinking framework,
and customer in mind.
To constantly ask the question, what is the expectation of my customer from me? Yeah. Do I have the current capability to develop that expectation or deliver that expectation? And what are the capability gaps and how do I bridge it? I think that's what you need to ask. And Nathan spoke about this risk management framework. I think especially at a time, we need to deploy this risk management process at a time when the sun is shining and when there's no clouds in the horizon. This is the right time for us to adopt that, what we call that adaptability framework, which has three anchors primarily, which is primarily the commitment to outcome, the adoption at heart, and navigating for the future. And then marry it with the HR, change management framework, which is about program design, employee experience, and the governance. This 3x3 model in my mind is the right approach for us to adopt at this point of time to create that future resilient and the anti-fragility in the organization that we are talking about. And that's the only way when the new normal is showing a high degree of complexity and unpredictability. For us also, we have to collectively demonstrate a higher degree of resilience, creativity, agility, and embrace the right technology to reimagine the future business scenarios and navigate through that uncharted terrain, which will make us emerge as a winner like we have always done in the past.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thanks.